In this video, I'm drilling a lot of tiny holes, doing some 3D printing, and hopefully choosing the right color. Right, so first step to complete the hull is cutting out the holes for the scoopers. And here I'm using a 1mm drill bit, making a lot of tiny holes and then connect all those tiny holes. These are the injection molded plastic parts for the scoopers, and if there's one problem Billing Boat says, then it's the injection molded plastic parts, because they are nice and detailed on one side but unfortunately flat on the outside, and so again in this case I don't like them and I will replace them. Alright, so first step for making new covers for the scoopers is using a 0.5mm brass tip, which I cut out from previous photo etch parts, and 0.5mm brass wire. And in my age, to fabricate such tiny hinges is really a pain in the rear end. With my shaky hands, it's really a challenge to make those tiny parts. Well, since the covers are made of brass, they are a little bit heavy, and also the hinges are made very precise. They are actually working. Next one, we have a simple task that's only drilling 2 holes, a 7 and a 9 millimeter for the anchor chain and also for the rope in the bow section, and that's the rivets what we have to put in there. Okay, coming to the next problem with the injection molded plastic parts, and that's the covers or the rings for the fairleads. And also here they have sharp edges and flat on all sides, and I really don't like them. But in this case we will use them and modify them. Alright, so with the outside nicely done, we still have a problem with the inside because it's flat and very unrealistic. It so happened that I 3D printed parts for the fin mark, and that's the other project I'm doing, and those necks has the same diameter as this fairleads. So I will use some parts for the fin mark from the fin mark and also here for the Canute. Alright, so I believe that with the necks around the fairleads, the inside of the bulwarks looks much more realistic than before. But still, we have one detail to add, and that's the stringers. I broke off the plywood ends of the frames, which are intended to be the stringers, but I really don't like them. So I will make some 3D printed stringers for this model. As for all of my 3D printed parts, I'm using Tinkercad. That's a free download and very easy to work with. So that's the design I made on Tinkercad, and now I will print them on my 3D printer. Alright, there we go with a bunch of 3D printed stringers, and as I said before, in my opinion they look much better than the plywood ends of the frames. But I'm always interested in your opinion, so please leave a comment below. What look better, 3D printed parts, or should we keep the parts from the kit? I don't think that I have to explain much from the construction of the stand of the model. Just assemble it on a flat surface so that the stand is not twisted. Alright, so before we can finally go over and paint the hull, we still have some parts to reinstall, and that's the rudder. But before we can install the rudder, we have to install the drive or propeller shaft. And as a lubrication, I'm using petroleum jelly, which I'm inserting here with a syringe. And petroleum jelly is a natural product and is good for the environment, and I don't have any problems with it since I've started with this hobby. Alright, so with all this preparation work done, I do a final step, and that is scuffing up the complete hull with Scotch-Brite, and that is to eliminate all dust impurities on the surface of the primer. Alright, so the first color we spray on does not need any prep work or masking. We can spray the whole underwater ship in the same color. We are using a rattle can called Maroon, and that is very close to red oxide. Well, that's a nice and shiny coat, and the next step will be marking the waterline. I'm always showing these commercial waterline markers in my video, but to be honest, I never use them. I only use them to make some marks on the hull, and the rest I'm doing eyeballing, and that I think is much more accurate than to draw a complete waterline with those tools. As said, you barely can see the markings I'm doing with the tool, and it's just to get the idea where the waterline is going. As for masking the waterline, I'm using a 6mm wide Tamiya masking tape. Well, I'm really sure that even in this video you can see that my eyeballing is one of the things I can trust. And the waterline is extremely straight, and I think it's much more accurate than if I'm doing the whole line with this waterline tool. So with two colors done, we only have the upper bulwarks left to paint. Alright, there we are with the painted hull, but there is one final step to do in this paint job. But that is stuff for the next video. As usual, please leave a comment below and let me know what you think so far about this model. And up to then, stay tuned and see you there.